from people. We've decided to include the Q&A at the end in the recording. So if you want to go and see it again on the avpals.com website, it's all clear, will all be clearly there as from Friday. So you'll be able to see your comments as well as what I'm having to say. So here we go. I hope you've all had a wonderful week. It's nice to be able to see a little bit more freedom for all of us. Not too much, frankly. I wonder if you're like me. I don't even feel like going out anymore, which is a pretty sad situation. But I personally am enjoying the peace and quiet and the gentle lifestyle of living in Elvina Bay as I do. So let's now move on to today's course, and I think you're going to find some interesting things. No doubt some of you have already tested out some of the things we learned last week, and some of you have downloaded this program called Avpals View that I rave on about. I rarely go on about a bit of software which is available and isn't part of the Windows operating system, but I really like this bit of software. Firstly, it's 1.3 megabytes in size, which might not mean much to you, but it is absolutely tiny when you consider that Windows itself is around about 600 times bigger than that. No, more than that, 6,000 times bigger than that. So it really is a beautiful bit of software. And if you don't like it, you could remove it from your computer. You don't actually have to use it all the time, but it is useful for doing what we're doing. So let's make a bit of a start. We're going to look at this little PowerPoint production that I've produced here, and you should be able to see it on your screens now. Avpals for Seniors, let me remind you that our website is avpals.com. We have there hundreds of sets of notes from previous courses that you can look at, all for free. We have the notes from today's course, which you can either view on the screen or click a button that allows you to download all the notes. Or you can also watch the video, which we're now doing, and that will be available once we get it organized. So we're into week 2. I'm hoping that we'll have a little bit of time, extra time at the end of this discussion, so as we can answer some more questions from you, because I know from some of the comments I'm getting, there are things you do need to know. So what we're doing here is we're learning to scan photos to the cat cloud, and just a little recap of last week for those of you that weren't here or would like to know a little bit more about it. You remember we chose the photos by scanning them using the built-in program that's built into Windows called Fax and Scan, Windows Fax and Scan. Perfectly adequate. I don't think you need anything more than that. If you've got Windows 10, this is an excellent bit of software. It's exactly the same as it has been for many years. They haven't fiddled with it, and it works really well. You can, questions I had from some people, increase the resolution so that it becomes more detailed than it would have been, but there's some weaknesses to this. The principal one is it takes a lot longer to scan if you set the number of dots per inch up very high from the standard. It just takes very much longer, and you can't really turn a poor photo into a good one by doing that. So I don't recommend you do that. I suggest just scan them. And I know some of you have done this because I've had some discussions with you, and you're getting on with it very well. So we scanned the photos and we rotated them and we cut them into little individual pieces. And then I see a spelling mistake on my screen, which I shall fix very quickly. And we did that using the software Avpals View. Having said that, you can also do it in the built-in program that comes with Windows called Photos. My questions to you is, have you become familiar with Avpals View? And I can absolutely answer it for you because you haven't. The truth is, it's taken me years and years and years of constant use of this program to discover all of its benefits. There is everything in there from enhancing the picture, to copying it, to changing the colors to grayscale, to enlarging it or reducing it, to sending pictures by email, all sorts of good things. So please have a go at it. Did you remember to clean the glass on the platen of the scanner? And it's funny, you know, I've given similar courses to this previously, and I'm a bit of a talk about it, but don't do it. And I had a look at my glass on my scanner this morning, and it is filthy. Did you return the photos to the album? It's a good tip. Put them back in the spot they came from. I remember when I did mine the first time, the first album I did, I just sort of stuck them in there and thought to myself, oh, I'll do this when I'm finished, but really it's not a good idea because they all end up in a terrible mess. And did you remember where you saved the edited photos? Now, this is right at the heart of using Windows 10. Windows Explorer is the program that allows you to navigate through your hard drive looking for folders. You've all seen them, little yellow boxes. And you can create those folders and you can delete them. And I'm saying to you, you really must try to get familiar with where you've saved the edited photos. So here's the example. You go on into OpenView, you've cut out the picture of the person you want, and you've clicked the option that says save. And if you don't notice where it saves it, you won't remember. So the important trick is, just before you click the save button, have a look and see it's called the path, where it is that you're saving it. It can all be fixed afterwards, but it's good to get it right to start with. And do you have a copy of Microsoft PowerPoint from version 2010 on? The ones prior to that didn't work very well. So if you do, then this is going to be very easy for you. If you happen to have a copy of PowerPoint 365, that is Microsoft 365, used to be called Office 365, it's the best solution. And I'm saying this for somebody who has fought this for years and years. And just before I started the course last week, I signed up for Office Windows 365. And I must say, it's terribly impressive. You get the latest versions of PowerPoint, Excel, Publisher, Word, and Outlook for a very small cost, around about $10 a month, a little bit less than that if you hunt around. And that means you've always got the latest version. You don't have to feel like you're left out. Why I'm saying this is, you as users of Windows have a distinct advantage over the people coming after you who use the Macintosh, because they don't have the option built into their version of PowerPoint, even if they have the latest one that does what we're going to do. And do you have a OneDrive or Google Drive account? Well, I can almost guarantee you have a OneDrive account, because if you've got Windows 10, you've got OneDrive. And if you want help with setting that up after we've had this little discussion, then I'm very glad to help. Or you might have Google Drive, or you might have Dropbox, or, perish the thought, you might have iCloud, which also does all of these things. Do you remember the passwords that you chose when you first set them up? There's always a problem, isn't it? I'm not supposed to tell you to write them in a book, but probably it's a good idea. So, are you ready for the final step? Here we go for the rest of our meeting. Oh, but wait. PowerPoint Personal View. There are some other choices. You can use PowerPoint Online. This is free, provided by Microsoft for nothing. And if you search for those words in Google, PowerPoint Online, you'll find what I'm talking about. It provides you with a cut down version of PowerPoint, which you can use. And if you'll see in my case there, I've got a little sign there showing you that I've signed up for Microsoft Office 365. It cost me $110, I think, for 12 months. And I'm very thrilled that it's working very well. And that entitles you to use it on 5 different computers at the same time. Another choice is one called LibreOffice. If you don't want to pay any money at all, LibreOffice, search it for Google, is the equivalent of PowerPoint and Word and all the other things for free, provided by an independent organization. And there's another one called WPS, Office Suite, which I use occasionally, and I find it very like Windows, Microsoft's Office, very, very like it indeed, and it's totally free. So are there any benefits to using Microsoft 365? Well, there they are listed there. I'm not going to go into it too much because you can read these notes later, but it does include 1 terabyte of storage in OneDrive. Now that is everything. That's all you'll ever want, I promise you. 1 terabyte for an individual. I've used about 80 gigabytes of mine, so I've used about 8%. And I don't see that I'll ever get much more than that. So we'll move on from that. We're going to use Microsoft PowerPoint, any version from 2010 on up until the latest one, 2019 or 365. There's an option in there to create an automatic phone book. This is where your advantage is. And in doing so, you just simply get hold of the photos that you've already cut and prepared, and you choose in PowerPoint to create an automatic photo book. You click the button once and pretty much sit back and watch what happens. I'm going to show you in a second. You can easily overcome the routine tasks that we're going to go through when I get to the Macintosh people in about 40 minutes. They're going to have to do it manually, but you have the advantage of being able to do it automatically. May I recommend you make sure your copy of Windows 10 is up to date. If you're not sure how to do that, it's pretty straightforward, except for you, Louise, who has a little struggle, but I'm going to fix it. You simply press the Windows key on your keyboard and type the word update. That's got nothing to do with this course at all, but that's what I would recommend you do, and follow the prompts from there and make sure your Windows is up to date. Are you familiar with Windows Explorer? That's at the heart of everything you do with a personal computer based on Windows 10. And really, Avpals runs courses on this regularly. And in addition, we have our one-to-one training when we get back to it in who knows when, September probably. And you might like to sign up for $30 a school term and learn all there is to know about Windows Explorer. It is worth knowing. And you need to create a folder to store all those newly chopped up images that you've got. And you do that basically by choosing somewhere on your computer and right-clicking on that place and choose new folder and give it a name. More about that later. Don't forget to clean the glass. And now we're going to follow the steps in this very next slide. Open PowerPoint 2010 to 2019. You do that on your screen, and I'm going to go through this again, so don't get worried about it. You click on the option that says Insert up on the menu bar, and you choose Photo Album. If you look at that little picture I'm showing you now, that's a little screen picture of what I have. You can see across the top of the menu bar says File, Home, Insert, and below that the words Photo Album. I've put circles around them so you can see them. They don't obviously have that really. And that's the thing that's a bit special about PowerPoint, this option of creating a photo album. And when you click on Photo Album, you're going to select the option that says New Photo Album. That's what the next screen looks like. And you're going to click the button that says File/Disk. Right, let's step through the process now in real time. This is us doing it. I've made a little video earlier. It's a bit like making the cake here. And you're going to be able to watch it. I'll talk to you about it. So here we are looking at PowerPoint, and I'm clicking on the option up the top there. You'll notice that it says Insert a New Photo Album. I clicked it, and there I've done it. That's the same picture you just saw a little earlier. It says File, Disk. And when you've done that, you click on that and you go and find the folder that you saved all those pictures in, the ones you cut. And when you've done it, you open it up by clicking it, and there are all the pictures that you might want to include. These are all the ones you cut up. Now I've selected them all. I'm just going to try and pause this video for a second. I just can't do it, I don't think. Anyway, it's going to repeat itself. It's important to select all the pictures in one go. And the quickest way to do that is to click on one of the pictures and then hold down the control key on your keyboard and press the letter A for all. That selects the whole lot and makes life a lot easier. So here we are going through it again. There's all the pictures. I'm going to select them all by going Control A, which I've just done now. They've gone blue, you see. And I'm going to say Insert. Now there's a delay. It could take a minute or two for it to get itself organized. I'm basically just now waiting for it to do its job. And it's about to finish and it's done. That, folks, is how you make a photo album. And those photos are now all done with a heading it put in by itself. I didn't do that one. It got the name from the person who's got the license. It's got a black background. It's got each picture in the order that you chose. And you now have the option, as you always do in PowerPoint, to move those slides, the ones on the left-hand side, back and forth so as you get them in the order you want to. Now notice down at the bottom of the screen, it says click to add notes. In there, you can type in anything to do with a particular picture. It might be, here's a picture of my Uncle Tom and his young brother Bill before they went off to World War I. And it's important to put that in there because although it's not visible when you show the slideshow, when you hand this on to a family member, they've got all that going for you. So that's what the final result looks like. This is a different set of pictures, one I did on a recent walk up the Elvina track. And it says photo album by Paul Purvis, which by the way, you can change to anything you want to. You can put a different color background if you like. And there are the pictures down the left-hand side. And I'm able now to shuffle those around and put them into some sort of order. All right, step 2, making notes for others to read. This is what I mentioned. You can do it in one of 2 ways. You can write the notes at the bottom in that little note area, which nobody can really see, or if you wish to, you can add the text in a little text box at the bottom part of the picture and type it in there so that people can immediately see when they're watching the slideshow what it says. It says Bob and Peter in the garden of the house in Dubbo. I just made that up. And it happens to be a picture of my grandson and his father. And really, that's quite a good way to do it if you've only got a few words to say. But if you've got a lot of words to say, you're better off doing it in the notes area at the bottom of the slide. So I'm suggesting use the notes option in PowerPoint. And to look at them all, you click on the menu bar at the top of PowerPoint that says select View Notes Page. And the notes will not be visible in the show, but they're certainly visible just like that when you're looking at them. So there's a picture at the top of the 2 boys, and below that it has the text that was typed in there. And you can type in any amount of text you like. There is no limit to it, thousands of pages if you so wish. They're only visible when your family download the PowerPoint file, which we're going to do as the last step in this little exercise today. Others can add their own notes to this slide if you let them. The option is when you send them to them by email, this link to your new production, you can say, and you can also edit it. If they have something interesting they want to add to it as well, and then they could send it back to you. So the final result, slideshow I'm about to show you, was made by me to show photos of my family from the 1920s to the 1930s, rather before my time. And can I say to you, that what I did is I created a folder that said 1920s to 1930s. And I put all the chopped up scans in there, ready to make this slideshow. I added a title slide, the first slide. It did it automatically, but I liked to choose a background just for that one slide to make it a bit interesting. Otherwise, it looks a bit stark. And each slide is annotated, that is, the notes are not visible, and it has a paragraph that says something like that, and you can see what I put down the bottom there. There's a whole lot of text, which you wouldn't really want to put in a text box in the slide, but quite useful if you want to send it on to family members or you're doing some historical thing. By the way, all those facts are completely made up. So here's the slideshow. This is what I did. I'm not touching a key, look, hands-free, and you're now watching this slideshow in real time. These are the pictures that I chopped up, and they're just showing you a bit of an example. I'm only going to show you 4 or 5 of them, but you could have hundreds and hundreds if you wanted to. So basically what we've done there is we've created the slideshow. I only did it with 4 slides then. Most of mine have round about 50 to 60 photos in separate little slides. I find that's enough for people to cope with in one go. If you've got a lot of photos, as I have from the 80s, I've created two separate lots, one from 1980 to 85 and one from 1985 through to 1990. Otherwise, it gets to be a bit out of control. You could have selected black and white if all the images were not in colour. Now, what I'm saying is if the photos are quite old, and most of them are in black and white, you can make them all black and white as part of the PowerPoint process. I'll let you find that out yourself as you go along. You can certainly edit that first slide. The one automatically included is very plain, and I'd be suggesting you might want to colour it up or perhaps put a picture of some home you lived in many years ago. You can edit the template for the total show to make produce more interesting results. Now, what that really means is you could choose some overall look to the whole show that made it interesting. My personal feeling is it's better off left the way it is, with a black background and the photos filling the whole screen. That's up to you. So we're now ready to move on to the final step. We're going to upload these photos to the cloud. When I say the cloud, I'm talking about any service at all that allows you to put the photos or any document at all in some computer somewhere off somewhere. And we've got the choices we've mentioned before of OneDrive, owned by Microsoft, iCloud, owned by Apple, Google Drive, owned by Google, Dropbox, privately owned company, fantastic service though, and many others, including another one called Box. There are dozens more of them. The trick is to find one that preferably doesn't cost you anything. And in my case, I've used OneDrive because I'm using a Microsoft product, and they're very generous with the amount of space they give you. So I'm using OneDrive. First thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure we've saved those PowerPoint slides as a show. Now, doing that, it's an option inside the PowerPoint program that allows you to change it from its normal way to a show. So what you will be doing is clicking on File, Save As, and choosing from all the options there, a show rather than a normal PowerPoint production. And they're all going to end with the letters PPSX. When you've done that and you're ready to save the final result, you've got to make sure you save the finished result into a OneDrive folder. Now you can find them by looking on the left-hand side of the screen of your Windows Explorer, running your eye down until you find where it says OneDrive and looking in there for an appropriate folder. I go to the trouble of creating extra folders for these, but you don't really have to do that. There are the options. And when you put the file in there and it's ready to, you put it in there, you're happy you've got it right, you right click on the file and you select the option that says share. And that's what it looks like. It brings up a little box like that, and you can see where it says enter a name or email address. So you will type in the email address there of the person you want to send it to. And then I would recommend you click on the option that says copy link. Nothing else, simple as that. Copy link. It puts it into the computer's brain, and then you simply go into your email program and you type an email to the person you're going to send this to and say, here is the slideshow I was talking about. And when you've typed that in, you simply hold down the control key on your keyboard and press the letter V, which, as many of you know, means paste. Control V, and it pastes that link that you just copied in there. Give it a try, get hold of a copy of these notes and steadily work your way through it yourself. Do it nice and 20 years to get it right. I'm assuming that you have a Microsoft account, and I think you probably almost certainly do. You might say you've got a Gmail address or something, but you almost certainly got a Microsoft account when you set up your computer. It's free and generous is OneDrive, and it works every time, never fails. It's included in Windows 10. And when you first turn on Windows 10, it is not activated, but it will appear down on the tray, bottom right-hand corner of your screen, sitting there waiting for you to set it up if you haven't done so already. So to send the link to somebody else, you just simply click the option to copy the link, you put it in the program as I described, using that shortcut key Control-V, and it'll look like something like that, which is a pretty awkward thing to have to type. But all they'll have to do is point their mouse at it and click it, and they'll be watching the slideshow. That's it. I've made it hopefully sound easy. It isn't as easy as that. It's easy after you've done it the first couple of times, but really just take it easy, calm down, and ask me all the questions you like. Your friends and family can now view your PowerPoint show, and I hope that you're going to get some benefit from what we've talked about. Don't forget to visit avpals.com to review these notes, watch the seminar again, download the notes as well if you want to. You don't have to print them out, you can look at them on your screen, but if you want to print them, by all means do so. And I hope that you've got some benefit from what we've talked about today. So we're back where we should be. I hope you've enjoyed that, and we now like to ask Jim if you'd like to turn on your microphones. And if you want to ask a question, just put your hand up like that and we'll go through it steadily and talk to everybody.
Okay, so just wave a hand at me if you want to ask Paul a question. And I'll...
Yes, Jan, I can see you waving your hand.
Right. Thank you. I did mention this, I think, in an email to you.
Yes.
But my OneDrive is full, and although I've tried to delete photos from it, they won't delete from the recycle bin. It says after 30 days they will drop off.
Jan, you can do it. The way you do it is you go to onedrive.com in a web browser, put in your username and your password for the Microsoft one. And then there's an option in there that shows you all the folders, including one that says recycle bin. It might be called something else, but I think it's recycle bin. If you open that up, there's an option that says delete all the pictures now. So you don't do it so much from your own computer. You're using, whatever browser you're using, you go in there and you can delete them in there if that.
And do they still stay in my computer?
No.
No.
They're gone.
Okay.
So can I suggest to you, just by way of talking about money again, I hate bringing it up, but this idea of subscribing to Microsoft 365 gives you you get 5 gigs of data for free. This way gives you 20 times that, and you'll never run out of space.
Right.
So I think it's worth the $10 a month. If you say it quickly, when you think about what you spend money on, to know that you've got every document, every picture, every piece of music that you've ever created in there, it's a really worthwhile thing to do.
Okay, thank you.
Who's next? Roman.
Yes, Roman.
Unmute myself. Yes. Paul, thank you very much again. And can I just recommend to the others, and I did that after your first presentation, review the show on the Avpals website. It was surprising how much I had missed just listening to the live show. So that comment. I also have a question about Windows Explorer. Is that the same as File Explorer now?
Yes, it is. Exactly the same. The two names are pretty much interchangeable. They're both exactly the same. The same way they've been since Windows 95. Every version's got a few more enhancements, but basically it's the same exactly, yes. And the knowledge of how that works is at the heart of everything you do with the computer. I'm sure, Jim, you will agree with me.
Yep.
If you don't really understand how Windows or File Explorer works, then life is tough. It's much harder to get your head around it properly. So I really recommend you seriously. I know it's a bit boring because it's not exciting stuff. You're not Zooming, you're not watching Netflix, you're not sending and receiving emails and things, but the underlying thing is pretty important.
Thank you.
Chris, you're unmuted.
It's Lynn, actually.
Oh.
I've enjoyed today, thank you very much. But this question is not actually related to what we've learnt today. It's just that I'm starting to run out of space on my computer, and I've deleted a lot of photos and a lot of files, but it's still not giving me much space. Should I be, and I've deleted a lot of downloads as well. What else should I be deleting that's...
Well, that is an absolutely excellent question, and amongst the best there could be. First thing you need to do is go into your downloads folder and delete everything. There is nothing in there that you will want. Nothing.
Okay.
That will give you back a lot of space. And that's the same for all of you. If you've got stuff in your downloads folder, you might think, oh, I might need that one day. You won't. You won't need it. The second thing to do is there's an option inside Windows that's called cleanup. So if you were to touch the Windows key on your keyboard and you just type the word cleanup, all one word, C-L-E-A-N-U-P, up will come an option that you've probably never seen before that you follow through, and it will get rid of a lot of rubbish that's on your Windows computer, stuff that is been hanging around, that is not documents. We're talking about old versions of things, and that will give you a lot of room back.
Old versions of what you've downloaded before.
Things like, mostly log files and update stuff that Windows does by itself, and none of which you need. The other thing you can do, of course, one of the beautiful things about using cloud storage is that you can put all your photos in the cloud and take them off your own computer so that they stay on somebody else's computer. That gives you back a lot of room. I'm using this, doing this presentation on a, must be a 10-year-old laptop, and it's got a 120 gig drive in it. It's tiny. It wouldn't hold anything like what I need. So I just leave all of those things in the cloud and get them back when I need them.
Okay, and I've actually got Dropbox as well, which uses obviously a lot of gigabytes. But is it necessary to have Dropbox and cloud?
Not really. They're not. There is some pluses to Dropbox, but they're cosmetic things. They're not really. OneDrive or Google Drive is the way to go, in my opinion.
Okay, because I find that Dropbox, if you want to go in there and look at a photo, it just seems to take ages to download it and look at the photos and everything. So is iCloud, must admit I haven't even really looked at into that. Is it a lot quicker to access your photos?
No. You said iCloud. You might cloud. You mean the
cloud? I mean.
Cloud. Well, all of them. The bigger they are, the faster they are. Basically, Microsoft have got the best servers in the world, so you can expect that would be the best result. I've gone all the way from recommending Dropbox to everybody now right back to choosing OneDrive, because they give you, for a very small cost, an almost unlimited amount of data.
Okay, and with Dropbox, if you cease to actually pay your subscription and everything, your photos still stay there, or do they just delete? They
deleted down to the 2 gigabyte limit or whatever
that you previously would have had. Okay, got it. Yeah. Okay.
So you want to get them back before you kill it.
Yeah. Okay.
Can I put a plug in for OneDrive? OneDrive has a really good feature called Files on Demand, which will help with your problem. And if you set files on demand, you can have far more storage being used in the cloud than you have space on your computer. But when you open a file, it brings it down and it will leave it there until it needs some space. And it's really handy.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any more questions? We're coming to the end of our time. Helen?
Yes. I've tried to look at the notes and from the last seminar, and I couldn't get onto them. How do I had trouble?
Maybe I can just show you. I think I can do that. Let's just see if I can do this. Just to keep you. We'll see what we can do here. This might do it. So we're going back to the little thing I was showing you before. I'm going to just stop this, and now we're. I know it's not going to work too well. All you need to do is go to avpals.com.
Yeah.
In a web browser. Along the menu bar at the top, you will find an option that says, I forgot what I put there. I put it there, so I should remember, shouldn't I? I'm just looking now to tell you. I'm looking on the computer whilst I'm talking to you. The menu
found the thing that says the meetings that we've had, the seminars or whatever they are, and I've clicked on that.
It says revisit an Avpals seminar.
Revisit, yeah.
And then you go down to the option that says photos to the cloud.
Yeah.
So as soon as you point the mouse at revisit an Avpals seminar, but don't click it. Go down to where it says photos to the cloud,
yeah.
and in there you'll see the notes themselves, a link to download them, a video of last week's.
Download a link. I don't think I got to that. I got to the thing that had the photos to the cloud, but then after that there wasn't very much there.
Well, down the page there is
these big ones, these first steps and those things. Was there more?
Well, okay, let me show you. I can now show you. I've worked it out how to do it. So here we go. There is. There's the website.
Yeah.
And you'll see there's home where we try and use that.
Yeah.
Revisit an Avpals seminar.
Yeah.
And then it's just not working for me here because I'm doing. There you go. See the two options: smart text, and another one that says photos. Yeah. Okay, so I've clicked on photos to the cloud.
Yeah.
And then just wait a second. There on the screen you can see week 1. And there are the notes themselves. Scan album, see the notes?
Yeah.
You can change the pages there. You see pages 1 to 27.
Yeah.
You can move on from there. Or best of all probably is click on this link that says download here. Can you see those words?
Yes.
That will download a copy of the notes to your computer. And of course, below that, there's the video of last week. And if you click the little YouTube picture, it'll show you the video.
That's what I couldn't get onto the video. I want to watch the video now.
Of course you do. Well then, have a go at looking at that page. I think you'll find you'll be able to do it.
Okay, thanks a lot. Thank you. I love the show.
Anybody else?
Seminar. Thanks.
Yes, go ahead, Eamon.
Just very quickly, Paul, I emailed you last week because I didn't expect to be here. So the coronavirus has kept us here because the flights are all cancelled. So I haven't got any photographs. But what I have on the on my laptop is a whole pile of photographs stored. So could I jump to where we are now by putting all of those into a folder and then putting them onto OneDrive? Because that's the thing
that's the thing. Once you've got the scans done, they will have scanned and saved themselves on your local computer. What I'm suggesting you do is you collect them all up by opening up that folder where they're all put. Copy all the photos. That is, the shortcut key is Control-A, selects them all. Control-C means to copy. Then go into OneDrive inside your computer and paste them in there into a suitable folder, and that will put a copy on both places.
Right. So I actually have Windows 10 on this computer, but I've used Dropbox. I didn't even know. I wanted to have something where I could store stuff. I'm writing some of my memories, and I wanted to put it somewhere where I wouldn't lose it. So it's in Dropbox. So, but OneDrive comes. I keep seeing OneDrive popping up, and the option to put it on OneDrive. So when I've got the folder made, what gets me to the bit that says, "Well, now put them into Dropbox"? What will the icon be that I have to click on?
For OneDrive?
Yeah, I mean, so if I make a folder up, Peter Lehman told me how to do that. So I should be able to. I haven't done it yet, but I've still got the notes I took that time. So I'll have a folder, and then to actually then get that into OneDrive. It's,
It is surprisingly easy to do, Eamon. It's a bit beyond what I can talk to you about now, but down the left-hand side of your Windows Explorer, you'll see all the folders and things. And one of them says OneDrive. When you click on that, you'll see a number of folders in there. There may be none. If you right-click in that window and select New Folder, you can give it a name, like 1920 to 1930s.
Yeah.
You create the folder, open the folder, and paste those photographs that you previously selected into there.
Okay, good.
Give it a try.
Yeah.
Give it a try.
I will. But what I don't want to do is lose them all, but I
You won't. You'll be fine. And look, we'll be back in action in no time.
Great.
We hope, and we'll be able to lead you through that if you have trouble. Honestly, it's not the sort of thing which you can buy a book about really easily. In the old days, you'd buy a big fat book on dummies for Windows for Dummies or something, and you'd work it out. But the truth is, today they sort of expect you to know. So the best way is just play around with them. But be careful you don't ever touch the delete key.
Good. Thanks again, Paul. It's been really good. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Pleasure.
All right.
Oh,
I think at this point, we might have to call it a day, because we have a session after this that we have to start turning on, and we'll run out of time if we keep taking questions. So thank you very much, Paul, for what was another excellent presentation, as always. And can I point you to our website, where you see next week we have Saskia doing a really interesting presentation on apps. If you want to sign up for that, I'm sure there might be a space or two free. And we hope to see you next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.